we've got two also absolutely amazing players for our next match, Taran Birdee versus Luca Ceribelli. So two players with a lot of accomplishments. And, let's take a look now at what they've got, what they're going to be using and what their accomplishments are.
Yeah, let's take a look at their team as we have Taran Birdee here in the 2022 EUIC Top 16, 2022 NAIC Top 8 as well, 2023 Perth Regional Champion, as in 2024 the little regional top 4. So quite a few accolades there, as Taran is playing quite interesting with Ogerpon, Golden Go, Rillaboom, Urshifu, Tornadus, and Landorus Incarnate.
Yeah, mostly standard Pokemon except for that Landorus, which is in its incarnate form. Its Therian form does tend to be a little bit more popular because Intimidate support is just really, really helpful for the team. But Sheer Force is one of those abilities that negates the Life Orb if the move has a secondary effect. So those Earth Powers and Sandsear Storms and Sludge Bombs are going to be hitting really, really hard. And it's actually quite interesting that, Landorus is going to be a mixed set. So that Sandsear Storm may be trying to get around any sort of potential redirects, but I think that Landorus being a special set means that it's not going to be affected by any opposing Therian Landorus Intimidates coming its way.
Yeah, exactly. And it is interesting to see Tornadus this time around with Tailwind and not Bleak Wind Storm, but opting to go for that Air Slash and Scary Face for potential speed control there as well, being able to potentially hit their own Pokemon as well, making sure that, for example, in Trick Room, their Pokemon could be quite slower as well and could provide some good damage as well. Because if we're just looking at this team, Tornadus and then all of these Pokemon that are able to deal so much damage time and time again. We have Ogerpon with the Grassy Glide next to a Rillaboom with its Heartflame Mask as well, getting that Embody aspect, getting the attack raise, Go, Choice Specs, and this time with Steel Beam as well, a move that takes 50% of your HP, but deals a massive amount of damage there, single target damage with that, and then of course Urshifu Single Strike. As we know, both Urshifus are quite strong as well, and this time with a single hit type for Wicked Blow for KOs.
Oh yes, Urshifu is one of those Pokemon that's, I think, just at the top of usage just because it's got such a good ability. And that's, excuse me there. And, Air Slash also, I think it's actually rising on Tornadus. We've seen quite a few players run it, maybe just not wanting to click Bleak Wind Storm and miss an attack, because sometimes you just need that flying type move to hit that one target, so you're better off going for that Air Slash. But let's take a look now at what Taran's opponent Luca is going to be running, and I think Luca is going to be, from what we've seen earlier, going to be a little bit more of a slower team. So let's take a look now at Luca Ceribelli's team.
Yeah, it is exactly as you said, a bit of a slower team, but let's take a look at those accolades again. 2018 Turn Special Event Champion in 2023, the EUIC Top 16 2023 Turn Special Event Top 8, and then the Worlds Day 2 in 2023. So these are definitely seasoned trainers, and it is just as you mentioned, a bit of a slower team as we have Ogerpon, Fluttermane, Iron Hands, Urshifu, Single Strike yet again, Farigiraf, and Ursaluna Blood Moon.
Oh, the double bear combination. It's really actually cool to see both the single strike Urshifus on both teams, because that's the less common version of Urshifus that we've seen. But a single strike Urshifu just does so much more damage immediately off the bat, and also doesn't quite worry about recoil damage from, say, something like a Rocky Helmet if the opponent is going to be using it. And that Ursaluna, I'm just looking at it, and it's one of those Pokemon that got a new form from the Detail Mask DLC, but also the Farigiraf on Luca's team is going to be threatened quite heavily by Taran's Urshifu. So it is, I think, a Terra Fairy, so there is that option to go for that Terra to set up that Trick Room. But we do have to keep in mind that Taran's Tornadus does have that Prankster, Prankster Scary Face, which, unlike Indeedee's Psychic Terrain, which Luca's Farigiraf is not going to be able to block that if Taran chooses to go for a Scary Face onto his own Pokemon. So that's something I'm really curious to see.
Yeah, exactly. So it's well picked there with the tornadoes, with that scary face, just making it a bit more harder for Luca Ceribelli. I do have to mention as well, all these three matches have been played around the same time. We are just showcasing them in or at a random time. So at this time, opponents didn't, the players did not know who was in advantage here with score-wise. So these players are playing for it all. These players are putting everything on the line, their heart, their soul, and this will be definitely one of the best matches that we are gonna be able to witness here. Let's take a look at these players.
Yes, we're going to see the players lead off with the Fluttermane and Urshifu against the Golden Go and Ogerpon. So, a lot of damage from that Urshifu off the bat. It's going to do a lot of damage to both the Golden Go and the Ogerpon. Fluttermane may be a little bit more threatened from both that Golden Go and, not being able to deal super effective fairy type damage to the Ogerpon. So, I'm really curious whether that Fluttermane is going to choose to stay in and keep its boosted energy, or if it's going to switch out.
Yeah, it seems like a quite an offensive lead from both sides here, as the Fluttermane does have that potential to go for an Icy Wind there, trying to make sure that the Urshifu is faster than the Ogerpon, but Urshifu tends to be just tanky enough to make sure that it can't take any move from an Ogerpon here. Definitely, if it's not a grass type move super effectively, as the Fluttermane is switching out here for the Iron Hands, as the Urshifu is opting to go for the Protect because nothing on the field can go through its Protect, as Ogerpon is actually this time around going for the Follow Me, trying to make sure that this Golden Go is free to go for any sort of damage here with the Choice Specs. Make It Rain here doing a bit of damage, not all that much to Iron Hands, luckily, thanks to its Soul Fest, and it's just a general bulk.
A fantastic switch in from Luca there. Getting that Assault Vest Iron Hands, take that really strong Choice Specs and make it rain. And now this Golden Go is at -1. It might want to switch out just to reset, because I don't think that Urshifu on Luca's side is going to be able to be knocked out at -1. It might take quite heavy damage, and I think Taran is thinking about swapping in a different Pokemon. We see him hovering over that that Rillaboom, which does have a lot of priority move, but actually it looks like maybe he wants to stay and just get as much damage off as possible, and maybe actually it's the Ogerpon that seems to be switching out instead of that Golden Go.
Yeah, with the Iron Hands now switching in, it is able to fake out this Ogerpon, making sure that it's not able to follow me anymore. So, meaning this Urshifu is able to go for any sort of Wicked Blow. Rillaboom switching in for potential fake out afterwards. We have the Make It Rain being faster than on the Urshifu. This Golden Go is quite fast, as we see. Even at -1, doing quite tremendous amount of damage. Urshifu just going into that Rillaboom shot, but Rillaboom still hanging on right now, as the Golden Go not even wanting to switch, doing the best that it can. We already know that it is faster than the Urshifu, and it's already ready to potentially kill this Urshifu in the next turn as well.
Yes, it's actually that Urshifu is in danger of getting KO'd if it does not go for a Detect, and that Rillaboom switching in also gives Taran a fresh option to go for a Fake Out. So, I think from Luca's side, he might be thinking about just keeping that Urshifu safe for at least one turn, or maybe just going for a Protect, just to, maybe get some recovery from that grassy terrain healing. But the Golden Go on Taran's side is now at -2 from both those Make It Rain, so maybe at this stage it is also heavily threatened. So actually no, we see the Iron Hands switching out from Luca's side.
It could be the Ferrograph. Yes! Ferrograph, of course, blocking any sort of priority moves that this Rillaboom might be going for, but the Golden Go just going for another Make It Rain, making sure that this Urshifu is down. No priority moves. Taran just fully seeing this potential option that Luca might have gone for. Just seeing the lines here, Woodhammer onto this Ferrograph, and Ferrograph goes down as well. An amazing play by Taran here, just seeing that his Golden Go was no reason to switch out, just go for that potential damage. Rillaboom will go down because of the recoil, but this is a worthwhile trade in my opinion.
Oh, I think Taran was very happy to make that trade, because now he's gotten rid of the Urshifu, which is a very, very scary offensive threat. And, Fluttermane has switched back in, but it's lost its booster energy, so it won't be as fast as it could have been. Of course, I think, it's still going to be the fastest Pokemon on the field. And actually, I missed what happened at the start when the booster energy activated, whether it got the special attack boost or the speed, but I think it was the speed, but I'm not 100%
It was the
sure.
speed boost with the potential of Icy Wind as well. So this Fluttermane not really being trained into mostly of the special attack stat, but always having still a decent special attack stat. But this Fluttermane unfortunately not carrying Shadow Ball, so not really being able to hit either of these Pokemon with only Ice Wind, Moonblast, and Energy Ball. The Iron Hands now going for its Terra Fire, trying to make sure that anything that this Ogerpon might be throwing at it, it will be able to resist it as well. Spiky Shield coming out from the Ogerpon, just shielding it for one more turn, as this Goligo is still onto the field, ready to just make it rain again a fourth time as well.
This Goligo has clicked Make It Rain so many times. It's at like such low special attack, but you know, it's still doing a lot of damage and it's just not being threatened at all. I don't think Luca's actually targeted that Goligo at all for the entire duration of this battle. So, you know, Goligo, at this stage, I think the Fluttermane is going to be quite safe from that Make It Rain, but it does have to contend with the Ogerpon now, going for Ivy Cudgels, and we see actually that Ogerpon going for that Terrestrialization, so it is going to get that attack boost from its Embody Aspect ability. And I think, did we catch that Goligo for Taran opting to switch out of his Goligo that turn?
I believe the Goligo itself was still staying in. Once you make it rain, it is not enough for Taran. Taran wants it to be raining all the time here, because that is of course the great thing as well. If you are able to be on the field, you the thing about Pokemon is you can have critical hits as well. Even though this Goligo might be at -4 or even -5 at this point, the Make It Rain can still potentially hurt this Fluttermane quite a bit, because this Fluttermane not really threatening this Goligo anyway, as the Iron Hand's not really threatening all that much either, as the Ogerpon has gone for its Terra. The Embody Aspect raising its attack stat as well. Fluttermane going for the second Protect here, but now this Ogerpon is able to hit freely in either of these slots, going for the Ivy Cudgel into this Fluttermane, making sure that this Fluttermane will go down, and only the Iron Hands remains onto the field right now.
It's now Iron Hands versus the world. All three of Taran's Pokemon are quite healthy, and the Goligo just really not doing that much to the Iron Hands, but I think at this stage, there really isn't that much the Iron Hands can do in return. Drain Punch coming off from the Iron Hands is going to deal over half damage to the Ogerpon, so you know, Ogerpon will not be able to survive for very long, but there's 3 Pokemon on Taran's side, so he is going to be able, and we see actually it's that Sheer Force Landorus in the back, which is going to be dealing a lot of damage with that Life Orb and Sheer Force boosted Earth Power. And see indeed now, the Goligo is switching out just to refresh its special attack, and Landorus coming in. I think at this stage, Luca might be just trying to get some information and trying to regather his thoughts and think about what to do in Game 2.
Yes, exactly. Iron Hands is going for the Drain Punch into that Spiky Shield, keeping the Landorus well in the back, just making sure that this Fluttermane didn't have the potential to go for any sort of Icy Wind, for example. Just making sure that if the Fluttermane was gone, no Icy Wind, no super effective move could be hit on this Landorus. Just playing it quite safe for Taran right now. Going for the Sandsear Storm, which could potentially miss here, Taran. But this is still quite a commanding lead that Taran has, and it's very hard for Luca here to really do anything, as Luca probably sees the writing on the wall and is already considering what he can do in this second game.
Yes, indeed, he has clicked that forfeit. So let's go into this game 2 and see which leads our players have brought.
Okay, let's see if Luca has been able to adapt here, as we do have that early Farigiraf, as you mentioned, for the possibility, and the Ogerpon as well. We already know that this Ogerpon also has Follow Me, being able to redirect any sort of attacks, but now Landorus and Ogerpon from Taran's side as well, really being able, just 2 very offensive Pokemon that can threaten the KO on this Farigiraf if they decide to double up. Farigiraf itself not carrying any sort of protect here, does have the Citrus Berry, being able to heal after 1 move, potentially to make sure that it is able to survive another, but it is still a hard thing to do, as you could redirect, but Ogerpon wouldn't like taking any of these moves from these Pokemon either, as we do have the activation of that Terra type here from Taran's side. It is that Terra Fire this time around for the Ogerpon.
Oh yes, the Ogerpon is going to get that really nice Pathway Mask, just expanding that, and Body Aspect also, giving it a +1. So I wonder if Luca has also gone for an answering no. He's actually gone for the Follow Me, just trying to keep the Frigoraph safe, and it means that the Ivy Cudgel is going to be redirected into Luca's Ogerpon. I wonder how much damage this does, and if that's that is enough to go. Not even a critical hit, just a very strong attack, leaving this Landorus get a single target Sandseas Storm, which connects and comes so close to knocking it out.
This amount of damage is absurd, as we see this Frigoraph almost be KO'd by Sandseas Storm, and Sandseas Storm also being a move that's not 100% accurate as well. Taran just really tearing it up, really.
Yeah, that's a very strong term from Taran coming off, but Luca has managed to get the Trick Room up and got a free switch into this Ursaluna, which is going to be a really strong threat, and it's got Life Orb and Hyper Voice, and I think Ursaluna is also just incredibly bulky, so Luca also hasn't used up his Terror option, so that is something that he could use this turn. So I think the Frigoraph also has Helping Hand, so it has the potential to just get a really strong attack off for its teammate.
Yeah, exactly. Helping Hand really providing some help for this Ursaluna. Both these Pokemon are quite offensively built, as we have probably most likely seen here already. Are they able to survive a Life or boost and potentially Terra Normal Ursaluna Hyper Voice with a Helping Hand from this Frigoraph? Only time will tell us, because that turn is right now. We have that Terra activation as well on this Ursaluna. Going for that Terra Normal, any type of normal type move right now will be an absolute humongous amount of damage coming out onto Taran's side. And with this Trick Room up, it is going to be able to move first. Frigoraph going for that Helping Hand. Let's see what this Ursaluna has in store for us. Ogerpon going for a Spike Shield, just making sure that it is able to survive at least for an extra turn here as well. Hyper Voice coming out. Is it enough to KO this Landorus right now?
Oh, here we go. The Hyper Voice coming off. Helping Hand boosted, Life Orb boosted, Terra Normal boosted, and it is, wow, enough to get the one-hit knockout on the Landorus. That did not stand a chance. So, quite a nice turn for Luca there. He may have lost that Pokemon immediately on turn 1, but maybe that was part of the plan. He wanted the Ogerpon just to take up any hits and just get that free switch into that that Urshifu, which is a very hard-hitting Pokemon. And now, both Goldengo and Rillaboom, we see Taran hovering over it. Goldengo being Ghost type normally doesn't care about normal type moves, but actually Ursaluna's ability, Mind's Eye, actually lets it ignore Ghost types. But of course, Goldengo is still a Steel type, so it will be able to resist any normal type moves that hit into it. But I wonder how much damage this Goldengo will take, because it's Choice Specs and it can't actually protect.
Yep, exactly. As just now the Ogerpon has protected as well. Thinking about the Rillaboom as well, Rillaboom did provide any sort of Grassy Surge there, giving the Ogerpon a Grassy Glide option. But we can't forget about the Iron Tail on the opposing end with the Frigoraph. Frigoraph still being around, making sure that any sort of priority moves are not being able to be used right now. So now there is a decision for Luca what to go after. We already know that we have seen the Specs Goldengo do tremendous amount of damage. Your turns of Trick Rooms are limited, and you have to make a decision here. What is the biggest threat? Is it this Specs Goldengo that will most likely click Minky Rain 4 to 5 times, or will it be the Ogerpon, which is actually being switched out right now for a Rillaboom as well? So giving the potential here, if an Earth Power or even just a Hyper Voice, this Rillaboom might be able to survive. Frigoraph going for the Helping Hand into this Ursaluna right now. Are we gonna see another Hyper Voice? It is another Hyper Voice boosted by this Terra as well. Let's see the amount of damage. Doing tremendous amount of damage, but no KO, meaning this Goldengo is able to go for a Steel Beam right now. And being able to make sure that this Ursaluna goes down as well.
Oh, and the Goldengo is going to sacrifice itself just to knock out that really scary Ursaluna. That's such a strong friend. I think that's the first time I have ever seen the Steel Beam animation go off, because normally Goldengo's going for that Maker Rain, but maybe Taran not quite sure if that Choice Specs Maker Rain was going to take the KO on that Ursaluna, and just not wanting to risk it because that Ursaluna was just doing so much damage. And now, Iron Hands and Rillaboom have both switched in, but Trick Room is active, so Luca's Iron Hands is going to be the faster Fake Out user right now.
Yep, exactly. So now being put in a position, the 2 versus 2, so it's quite important here to see what these players will do here to capitalize on this last turn of Trick Room. You do have that Fake Out option still onto the Iron Hands right now, but is this Farigiraf able to kill, for example, this Real Boom at the end, because it is carrying that Assault Vest, and Farigiraf has a decent special stat, but is it enough? Fake Out into the Ogerpon right now, doing quite a bit of damage there as it flinches, and now the Psychic into this Real Boom. Will it be enough? It is at 33. Oh. It is enough, even with the Assault Vest and all the bulk in the world. Farigiraf still putting in the work right now, meaning, right, this Farigiraf actually healing quite a bit from where it came from. Thanks to this grassy terrain. And now Ogerpon still with the Embodied Aspect at +1. Can threaten a kill on either of these, potentially on either of these Pokemon, depending on the way they are built. Because Iron Hands, even though it is a quite bulky Pokemon, a critical hit Ivy Cudgel can go a long way.
Yes, and it is also grassy terrain, so the Ivy, not the Ivy, any grass type moves from this Ogerpon will have its damage boosted. But I think was it Grassy Glide? Because that actually won't work.
It was Grassy Glide.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Then in that case, no, it won't work against the Farigiraf. But it will be able to get that. And I think Trick Room ends this turn, so Taran might just want to stall it out and see how much damage he can do to that Iron Hands. Because at this, the Spiky Shield is going to protect against both the Wild Charge and that Psychic. And let's see if that Trick Room turn is going to end. But actually, her Farigiraf, as you mentioned earlier, is going to be over half health now from all that Citrus Berry and Grassy Terrain recovery. And actually, no, I miscounted. Trick Room has not ended this turn.
Yeah, Trick Room not being over gives Luca still very much a lot of options here. Psychic plus Drain Punch can do quite a bit of damage. Even Wild Charge, really. And with the Spiky Shield as well, giving a bit of damage to the Iron Hands, trying to make sure that this Iron Hands gets in range of any sort of Ivy Cudgels. The helping hand from the Farigiraf into this Iron Hands right now, trying to make sure that as much damage as possible is coming out. Ogerpon going for the Ivy Cudgels, so Trick Room was over.
I missed the
onto the Iron Hands, not KOing this time around. So Wild Charge into that Ogerpon KOing. If that was a critical hit, that Iron Hands would have been gone, and we wouldn't have a game 3, but it's time for game 3.
Oh, this is so exciting. What an excellent adjustment from Luca there. Game 3, kind of going into that, I think a lot of both these players are going to be thinking about what they're going to do. And we're going to see Ogerpon and Floodmane, so a different lead once more, and Landorus and Ogerpon, so a bit of a switch up from both of these players.
Yep, exactly. Floodmane we've already established. It is Pokemon that is quite strong, but unfortunately not being really able to hit either the Goldugo or the Ogerpon with anything super effectively, having Icy Wind, Moonblast, Energy Ball. Icy Wind, of course, threatening the Landorus itself, while actually, with the support of the Ice Wind, its own Ogerpon from Luca can provide a lot of damage on either of these Pokemon with a potential Ivy Cudgel there, depending how it is trained, of course. You lower the speed of either Landorus and Ogerpon, and you just go for that KO on either of these Pokemon.
Yes, and that Landorus is not going to be enjoying any sort of icy winds coming its way. It might be forced to go for the Terra, but I think we saw Taran actually go for the Terra on his Ogerpon instead. So opting just for more damage rather than trying to preserve that Landorus. Maybe I think Landorus was going to protect, but here we are, the half-lane Ogerpon just shining so brightly, getting ready to land some very, very strong Ivy Cudgels onto the opponent.
Yep, the Embodied Aspect raising its attack. Floodmane going for the Protect, scouting out what potential options Taran might have found and go for, as a Spiky Shield coming out as well. So really now having a bit of information what Taran wanted to go for. We do have the Ivy Cudgel coming out into that Floodmane, as on the other hand, I'm expecting to see a strong Earth Power as well into that Ogerpon slot. So now Luca has an idea of what Taran might want to do, but on the other hand, now Taran also has the option to protect anything, predicting any plays that Luca might be thinking of making.
Yes, now that both of Luca's leads have gone for a Protect and Spiky Shield, they're not very likely to protect this turn, so Taran does have the option to just click and hit a Pokemon in either of the slots. And the Flutter Mane is quite heavily threatened right now. It can get the speed control and help out its teammate, but although it can deal Super Breaker damage to that Landorus, I don't think the Icy Wind is strong enough to knock it out, but it might be able to allow its teammate to get an attack off. But at the same time, we have seen from game 1, it did get knocked out in one hit from an Ivy Cudgel. So if it chooses to stay, but we see that Terrestrialization coming off on Luca's side as well. It's also going to be that Ogerpon. So both of these half lane Ogerpons are going to Terra into their Embody aspect, get that attack boost from that Embody aspect, and going to be dealing quite a lot of damage with Ivy Cudgels if they choose to go for it.
Yeah, Landorus is going for the Protect right now, making sure that no Ice Wind plus Ivy Cudgel will be able to kill it as well. But I mean, going for that Ice Wind, exactly the play that that Taran wants to see right now. Ogerpon, its speed gets lower, but being a Soul Fire type right now, not really minding this Ivy Cudgel. Ivy Cudgel actually, Luca reading this quite correctly, going for the Ivy Cudgel into the Ogerpon. Doing quite a bit of damage, but not enough, as the Ivy Cudgel from Taran is now free to go into this Flutter Mane slot as well, and making sure that this Flutter Mane flutters no more.
That was not even a critical hit from Luca's Ogerpon. So, even though that was a resisted hit, that did so much damage. But of course, Flutter Mane has been knocked down. That was one of the bigger threats to that Landorus, which is now actually very free to click some ground type moves onto both the Ogerpon and Iron Hands. Of course, it does have to be careful about a fake out that's coming off from the Iron Hands, and it did just protect that last turn, but there's nothing stopping it from switching out to and switch back in later on, because that Ogerpon on Taran's side is quite heavily shielded, and we do see that switch out coming from Taran, and Golden Goat is going to take its place. So if Luca predicts this and goes for the Ivy Cudgel onto that slot, that Golden Goat is going to be knocked out.
Yep, we do have a fake out, but this time into that Ogerpon slot, so meaning this Iron Hands will take a bit of that damage, as now the Ogerpon from Luca Ceribelli is able to go for an Ivy Cudgel onto this Golden Goat, which is not able to steal beam this time around, going immediately down. But now the Landorus is back to be back on the field and can threaten both of these Pokemon with a strong move here, as well with a strong ground type move. You do have the option of following me, of course, for Taran, or even protecting Spiky Shielding right now, if your Iron Hands is able to survive any sort of ground type moves that this Landorus might be going for. But you have to be careful of any sort of plays here that can be made, because that is the issue with Follow Me and Protect. You have to make the call right, or even if they're gonna attack. So Luca really has to think about what his play will be here. Going for that Protect here right now for the Spiky Shield, trying to make sure that it gets no damage this time around. Earth Power from Landorus onto the Iron Hands.
Wow.
Not enough for a kill, but right now Taran's Ivy Cudgel Ogerpon is now able to attack into that Iron Hands, just making sure that this Iron Hands is at least gone, and the critical hit on top of it as well.
Oh, what a call on that turn, just to make Taran just realizing, oh, you know what, Luca might be just going for that Spiky Shield, I'm gonna double into that Iron Hands, and now, oh, that Urshifu actually coming in. But I think we did see the Ogerpon outsped the Urshifu. I'm curious if the Landorus will also outspeed that Urshifu as well. I think Incarnate Landorus is faster than its Therian cousin, so there's actually quite a good chance that the Landorus is going to go first. And with the Ogerpon quite a bit slower on Luca's side, it might actually be felled by some sort of Earth Power that's coming off from the Landorus, and actually Ogerpon trying for a second Spiky Shield but actually failing to get it.
Yeah, the option there was to try and get that Spike Shield, so you have the potential to go survive another turn, but this Earth Power will deal with this Ogerpon quite well, as now on Luca's side, only the Urshifu left right now. We already know it is a Focus Sash variant, so it is able to go at least for a Wicked Blow, making sure that this Ogerpon goes down, but Taran still has another Pokemon in the back as well.
Yes, we're going to see his final Pokemon, which I believe from earlier was that Rillaboom. So it is able to maybe get a fake out of this turn. Of course, the Urshifu can simply protect to just stall out that, burn that one fake out turn. And I think if the Urshifu is able to knock out both the Landorus and the Rillaboom in one hit and survive, it might be able to win, but I think we did witness earlier that the Urshifu's Wicked Blow onto the Rillaboom at full health was not enough to knock it out. So I think, you know, the Urshifu has quite a lot of work cut out for it to get through both these full health Landorus and Rillaboom on Taran's side.
Yes, and his Landorus being faster right now, and his Rillaboom being able to threaten with any sort of Grassy Glide as well. It is not looking that great for Luca right now. Even though this Urshifu is one of a powerful Pokemon, it can survive one Earth Power here thanks to its Focus Sash here. So this Landorus was fully ready to do as much damage as possible. Wicked Blow into the Landorus, not even able to kill that, as the Rillaboom is able to Wood Hammer into the Urshifu and deal with that. So that gives Taran Birdee the win this time around as well.
Yes, very nice win for Team UK. I think really nice 3 games, just